We're back for the next departmental budget discussion. I'm joined by Talia Lomax O'Neill, the city's finance director, and Emily Pacini, the chief of staff here in the mayor's office. I'm David Briley. I'm the mayor of Nashville. And let me start off by saying just a few things about last year's budget. It was a unique year, and we had less revenue than we had anticipated, which prevented us from giving the cost of living adjustment that we had all expected. But in the last year, we've been able to tighten our belts a little bit, live within our means, and we've had some revenue increases this year that are allowing us to provide a cost of living adjustment to our employees. Our next budget discussion is with the Justice Integration Services Executive Director, Natalie Steers, I'm sorry. I know you and your team have been working hard and getting ready to go live in April. Is that right?
That's right, with the e-filing?
With the e-file?
Yes, we are.
And I appreciate everything y'all been doing this year. And I see you're joined by one of my former bosses. So if you introduce yourself and the judge who is with you, I would appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Pasquini, and Ms. O'Neill. I'm Judge Mike Mondelli. I'm a General Sessions Judge here in Davidson County, and I am Chairman of the JIS Policy Committee, and with me is the Executive Director of JIS, Ms. Natalie Steers. Natalie has been involved with JIS for a little bit longer than I have, but I've been the Chairman of the Policy Committee since 2008. This being our first appearance in front of your administration, I'd like to briefly describe the difference between JIS and ITS. When JIS was created by city ordinance back in the early 90s, Metro wound up with two information services, Justice Integrated, well, it's now Justice Integrated Services, and IT, which is Information Technical Services. And I've, over the years, had difficulty trying to explain a simple analogy to lay people who aren't familiar with technology, the difference between ITS and JIS. And I think the simplest way to explain it is that if ITS is the United States Navy, the U.S. Navy, then JIS is the SEAL Team 6. We do specialized work for all of the justice agencies in Davidson County. We serve justice agencies only: the courts, the DA, the probation people, a public defender, a juvenile court. And we have done so fairly successful, and we think pretty good since we've been around. And you can ask our customers, who I'm sure will talk well about us. We come to you today in an annual situation for budgetary purposes. First off, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Mayor, and your administration for proposing the cost of living adjustment. And with that, before I let Ms. Steers explain to you our budget request, I will address the concern that Ms. Little had when we met with her preliminarily. And I will say this, that if we get this individual we're asking for, you will have an immediate return. So, with that, I'll let Ms. Steers.
Can I just clarify that?
Yes,
I asked them the same question I had asked Mr. Durbin about how do you determine that return on investment after you continue to...
The same question was asked with ITS when they came through here.
Yes,
Right.
I asked ITS that question.
Well, I think we got an answer.
And then he hands it over to me. Well, thank you all for having us here today. As we come, first of all, to the end of this fiscal year, I would like to say that barring any unforeseen emergencies, we will be able to meet the target savings that we were asked to meet. As I say that, I do want to say that the way we will be able to meet that this year is through two areas primarily. We had an excess in fringes this year. And also, because of timing, it worked out very well for us with some 4% projects that we had in place. The timing on those things going live, some purchase of hardware, and the first year of maintenance and support. So all of that worked out very well. We are going to be able to meet that. So Now, next year, those funds, of course, are not going to be available because then they're contractually owed to the vendors when those payments come due. So as we move forward into fiscal 2020, we are requesting $10,000. We usually request a little more every year for the increases in the maintenance and support agreements that we have. Those are for all of the support agreements for the tools and licenses that we have for all of the customers that we serve, because they are all contained in the JIS budget. They're not in the individual budgets. And because I'm making a second request that it doesn't fit into the category of a contractual agreement, or obligation, I should say, I think it's necessary for me to take just a few minutes to discuss that particular request and the importance of it, and how it relates to the justice community and the impact to public safety. So I'm going to start off just by talking a little bit about how we got here, and so we have all these court case management systems, and they were originally built by a vendor in partnership with Metro. Now the hope at that time was that the vendor could come in, build all these systems with us, and then go off and sell them to other jurisdictions for a profit. What they quickly realized is that although that is a model that naturally works in many industries, it does not work in this case, because every jurisdiction is different and there's too much customization that needs to be done. So as a matter of fact, not only do I know that, but at the time, I was working in Broward County, Florida, while Nashville was implementing here. I was working doing the exact same thing there that they were doing here with the exact same vendor. And that's exactly what happened. And they said, but why don't you use this? So I go, no, we need something completely different. So, so the vendor realizes this, the systems are in production here, and we had a time and materials contract at the time. And with that, we paid for every additional field we needed, for every little piece of broken functionality, and we were never actually able to get to any request for new or new functionality or any sort of big changes. And then we had just regular upgrades that needed to occur because of technology, and to stay current and across the board. And those came at an additional cost. Those were not part of the time and materials. Those were all brand new negotiated contracts that were very expensive. So where we found ourselves was in a position where everything was very slow turnaround process. We weren't able to get support in a timely manner, and we were dealing with a constant flow of contractors who didn't know anything about the applications. So we ended up in a position where we had huge cost, very little return. So with the help of purchasing, we were able to amend the contract, and it allowed JIS to then start modifying those applications in-house. Over the course of time, we took on the full support of the applications. At that time, we had 4 applications. Now, fast forward to today, we do everything from responding to any legislative changes to adding new functionality, building entire new applications when we have to, and then taking off-the-shelf applications and integrating them into the suite. I will say that all of these applications are integrated, sharing real-time application with one another, as well as with the police department and the sheriff's office. So in addition to all that, there's a wealth of information that's available via the web to the public, and also 24/7 services for attorneys and the public, like online payments and e-filing, which is coming on board in April for the criminal court clerk, and then later on for juvenile. That's all integrated into the suite. It's not a standalone. And in a few weeks, we're also going to have texting availability out of, and we have it scheduled for 3 applications right now. So where those notifications are going to go out. And they will be going out for all sorts of things, whether it's cost or for court dates, just informational, all sorts of information to the public. So these are just a few of the things that we do and that we are responsible for. So we have an in-house staff that's skilled, that's knowledgeable, that knows the business processes, they know the applications, they know the customers. It makes for a very easy exchange and understanding for design purposes. We work quick, we're agile. And today, so like I said, when we took this on, we had, the JIS community was 15 agencies, and we had 4 applications. Today, we have 14 large applications, all of them integrated. We have 20 websites that we have built, but also those websites are also pulling information from these applications and pulling data, and we serve 17 departments. So during the budget cuts of recent years, we lost 3 positions. And we're a small agency. We were able to get back 1 position 2 years ago, and with the help of our customers over the last couple of years, and also with projects that were funded through 4%, we were able to continue on and to still bring projects like e-filing and such to fruition. But we don't have those financial options anymore from our customers, and with the 4%, we just have to. We're at the point now where we have our yearly. So we are asking for a position again. We have asked for it in the past, and we are asking again for a position to. It's a developer position to continue to be able to meet these needs. Not only for the justice community itself, but then now for the Nashville public, because we do interact with them much more now than we ever have before. And very importantly, Nashville has a state-of-the-art system. We have a complex, integrated system that is still an example across the country. And it is housed and supported in-house. And it is a huge risk to not have the people, the necessary amount of people and the skill sets to be able to maintain that system that is relied upon, heavily by the courts, by attorneys, by victims, and by the citizens to be able to get that information. I thank you for your time. I'm sorry, I went through a little bit of this, but I figured I needed to explain why we are asking for money for a position in a time when,
There's not much.
There's not much, right.
Talia?
I've got to ask the question. How do you determine your return on investment?
Well, you have this, my understanding of this position is it will help us staff our 24/7 obligation to online services. Online services is people who get online traffic school. They register online to the traffic school and pay money. And all those other sorts, they pay money into the clerk's office online. When that machine goes down, you can't pay your money. Metro can't get the money. But if we had that person there to service it or a help desk and be there and fix it just like that, then your revenue stream picks right back up. That's my understanding of it.
Is this one specifically for traffic?
It is not specifically for traffic, but it's a developer across the board. The thing of it is that anytime we have a project, the return on investment within you don't find it within the technology department itself. You do find it outside. If you look at every service that one of the, whether it's the public defender's office or the criminal court clerk's office or otherwise, any service that they can provide electronically to their customers, anytime they can do something online and not come downtown, anytime that they can collect more revenue because there's an avenue to do that which didn't exist before. Those are all return on investment and
It's like
expansion of services.
Amazon Prime online.
But those are all things, like I said, that you see within the departments, freeing up time in a department. We may free up, I don't want to say numbers right now, but every project we do, we have time savings, money savings, et cetera, that occurs in a department. And now, it doesn't necessarily mean that now that department has a staff member that doesn't have anything to do. It means that they now expand their services. I mean, and that's the expansion of services that have gone on during a lean time within that justice community has been exceptional. I mean, I think it's the growth, I think, is the return on investment.
I mean, clearly, as we do more online filing and such, it is going to free up some people in the clerk's offices. I think they all acknowledge that they have some folks who, as we move to more and more electronic filing, they have people who are shuffling paper, and we're going to have to, as a government, figure out if it's through attrition that they diminish their staffs, or if it's through finding other positions that are comparable within government for them to do, which I think there's likely to be plenty of that, frankly. And at the same time, I think it's going to put more of a burden on you to sort of manage through the back of house for all of those departments. And so certainly appreciate the sense that it's going to be a need for that going forward, and appreciate your coming today to
No, we
talk to
would
us.
appreciate your consideration, especially Miss O'Neill's.
Shows you where the real power is. So. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you all very much.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.